Hello beautiful people, my name is Niklas.
Hello, beautiful people as well from my side. My name is Nancy.
Yes, and today we want to talk about our experience around the world with our ancestors, our roots, and the common mind about German people around the world that we experienced.
And all of the experiences we made. Believe it or not, I'm half German, although I may not look it. I'm half Indian and half German. And yes, I would also like to share the experiences I made as, as a German on the international platform and as a German here in Germany. And I'm very pleased to have this wonderful partner at my side. And well, let's start. Nicholas, as far as I recall, when we met, you told me that you'd spent quite a long time abroad. Would you like to share some of your experiences with us?
Yes, it's a pleasure for me. And it was quite some years ago when I had the feeling I have to leave Germany for a longer time. And at that time, I was really into never coming back to Germany.
Okay.
From a,
Can you say which year was that?
it was 2016,
16, so quite a while ago, okay.
quite a while ago. So I spent it the most of the time from 2016 till last year out of Germany, experienced a lot of countries, a lot of different people, and so my mind and my opinion about how people see us in foreign countries totally changed, and as well for myself, my total behavior, and I found freedom with myself.
And that's a wonderful thing to say. I mean, to even be able to say something like that. You said, and I think this is very important because I know a lot of German people living here in Germany who are not aware about the opinion that, let's say, others in the world have about Germans. And you made the experience. You were here in Germany for quite a while. And then, as you said, 2016, you went abroad. Could you tell us which countries you visited, for example?
Yeah, I started like as a little young guy, you know. I started in Europe, traveling around, and since then I just experienced I cannot stop. I have to do more. I have to experience more. So I went as far as I could go. I went to New Zealand,
Wow.
and my plan was to stay there forever. But
Okay.
after 1 year, I just changed my mind and I had to go forward and went to Asia, Mongolia,
Wow.
Russia, up north to Scandinavia, to the west again, Eastern Europe, and spent a lot of time flying. Also, second time back to New Zealand, and you know everything changed. I had to go back to Germany just like a couple of times and experience my home area, and so I had to leave again and just see what's going on.
So there's a lot of, I can feel a lot of adventure
Oh, yeah.
feeling, and that's also what I had as a kid. I was born in Dubai, mother German, father Indian, as I said, and at the age of 7 we left the country, and we also did a lot of touring of the world. Went to school in many different places. Had to learn the language. Was in France, sorry, not France, in Spain, in the Netherlands, in Tunisia, in Malta, and I must say, as a little child, I wasn't able to speak German then, but everywhere they asked me, "Where do you come from?" and I said, "Oh, I'm German." They were always really, doors flew open.
Yes.
People were always friendly, and I always thought, wow, this thing about being German, this is really good. This is really great. And yes, I had lots of wonderful experiences. And also my mother, who was German, as blonde as you are, by the way. So yeah, really is true. and she was loved by the people.
Yes, exactly.
Her spirit, the way she also helped other people, and how she always found solutions. She really was a pool of solutions for a lot of people.
People in foreign countries expect that they have solutions, the Germans. Like everywhere I went, the people thought, oh, we need him. He has the solution for everything. He can do everything. He can work with everything. He has a lot of experience. And I was only like 25, you know, and I could do some little kind of jobs, but they always expected that I have the solution for everything. And they have been open, like you said.
And I bet you did. I bet you did. As far as I can tell, I bet you did.
I tried everything they offered me, and I tried. And
can you give us some examples? For example, when you were in New Zealand, I think this is really so interesting. What kind of jobs did you do there?
Well, it was a lot of foreign people, like young people like me, did, like these backpacker jobs for sure. But I also like tried some jobs that you normally need educations for, but people expected that I can do it, and I did, and they really, we all have been lucky with it. So they just said like, oh, you can. I just asked, do you have a job for me? At a carpenter place. I'm not a carpenter, but he said like, where are you from? I'm from Germany. So do you have shoes? I didn't have shoes, you know, but he said like, you can stay here, just you can live here at my house and build something with me. And he was like a builder, and he did carpenting with little tiny houses, and he just expected that I could do it, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is something that I found out to be a very special German trait, a very special German characteristic. As I said, as a kid I was in many different countries, and if a German has something to do, if he wants to get something done, he will do it quickly, accurately. In German they have the word gründlich.
Oh yes.
Gründlichkeit, and it's a word that you can hardly even translate into English. It's a combination of accuracy and thoroughness, which also shows how precise the German language is. And this is a trait that I have really found in Germans. It's quite unique, and the tendency also to create things in a very sustainable way. Sustainability is one of the parameters that Germans do choose when they develop things, invent new things, and I think it's quite admirable.
And they always wanted that I behave German, that I do what they expected that we do, and I just never got it. Like, what do they want? Like what do they think about me? Like, when I left Germany, I was thinking like, they don't have a good opinion about us, but everywhere I went, they have been such lovely people, like pleasing me to stay, like, please stay with us, and just to be with us. I didn't have to do anything.
Exactly. But doors flew open.
I always felt like they want me to do something. And they always said like, oh, we have ancestors from Germany, we know that about Germany, and I always thought like, oh, that's not what I'm used to know about us back at home.
Yeah, and that's so incredible. The first time of my life I spent, of course, with my mother touring the world, and as I said, everybody was so kind and loved her, and she loved the people. You know, it was mutual on both sides, and we had great times, and she made so many things possible. She was really very, very inventive. And anyway, at the age of 13, came to Germany, and I first of all learned the language. It took me years. Years was quite a tough time. I'm glad I succeeded. But then I noticed there was a sort of a gap between the way Germans are perceived internationally and the way Germans perceive themselves here in this country. And that really, it really took me a time to understand why.
Yeah, I felt I felt ashamed to be German back in time, you know, uh, in front of other people, but there was no reason for it. Like my grandparents always told me something about what they experienced back in time, and I always like I had this some kind of a key to understand what really happened back in time and that time because of my grandparents and their ancestors. But there was anyway there was some kind of this shame for all of us that came into us because of how we have been grown up and how we've learned a lot of things how to behave.
I think
That's untypical for us.
it is
We are not
absolutely.
allowed to
Yeah.
live how we really are. Like in the foreign countries where I went, I met so many Germans everywhere. In New Zealand, it's full of German people that are traveling. They are traveling over there. They are living over there, and in any other countries, it's full of German people, and all of them also felt a little bit like of shame to be German now. They went out of Germany, and now they met so many Germans. So one time I said I'm Norwegian, and you know what happened? I directly, there was hot boiling water, and I burned my left hand. And I was like, oh, I should never do that again. It didn't feel good at all. So I never did.
And, thank God for that.
Yeah.
One thing I also noticed when I started to live here and learning the language is this what you talked about, this guilt, this
Oh.
guilt feeling that they had. And I remember once there was a sort of a holiday, and but all shops were closed, and we were supposed to feel very bad on that day, especially bad. And I thought, oh my goodness, what's this all about? I mean, I'd been to American schools before, and in other countries, when there's a holiday, then there's always a celebration and fun and this like that. No way. Here, I was supposed to feel very shameful and guilty, and I thought, for what? For what?
For what?
And I asked my schoolmates to explain this to me, and they told me something about the history a long, long time ago, and that we should still feel bad about things that had happened, which we didn't even have to, we had no responsibility for anything of this. And I thought, how sad is this? How can that be? And you're not allowed to laugh, you're not allowed to do this, and there was no patriotism. I remember going to American schools at the beginning of the morning. We used to stand up and pledge the American anthem, pledge the allegiance to the flag and this and that, and everybody was happy and very loved their country and proud to be an American. And even in international schools, proud to be Indian, proud to be Moroccan, proud to be Scottish, proud to be anything. But there was no pride here in Germany.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah.
And they not even allowed themselves to be proud of these wonderful achievements and their wonderful history. I didn't understand it, and don't up to today.
And then foreign people, when I've been living with them, they started to talk to me about my own history that I didn't know at that time, maybe. And they told me so many good things about my ancestors, about my home country, and I started to change my mind about my own people, and they always expected me to be proud or to have something like this inside of me about my own story of this country. Maybe it's not my own story, but it's my ancestor's story. And you know, something started to change inside of me, and that was only because of people, foreign people, told this about me, because my own people couldn't tell me, because they all have been laying in this guilty, and
In this field of guilt and shame, and the thing is that this is being kept alive, and this is something that should be dropped.
oh yes,
Really dropped and put away and forget about it. The German, as I have learned to, as I've got to know them, such good-natured people. I mean, there is hardly a nationality on the face of this earth, which is so infatuated with environmental affairs as the German.
Yes.
The Germans are the environmentalists in the world.
That's our roots.
That's the roots, and that's where we really come from, and that's the picture that we should have. We're wonderful inventors. We are really good thinkers.
Yes.
We love other people. I mean, we're the export traveling nation number one.
Yes.
I mean, okay, we do a lot of traveling, and I think it's time for, also the Germans to get to change, if they would like to change their opinion or enhance their opinion of themselves, especially due to the opinions of others. And yes, I think that's one of the reasons why we're talking, and I'm so happy that we're talking about this finally. I think this should be exposed. I think it's time.
Yes, and suddenly I told people that I met while I was traveling that I have to be proud for their home country, and they didn't understand me at all. That I tried to, because they always have been hiding a little bit where they come from, or even they said different countries. I've been meeting people overseas that they didn't talk about at all that they are German.
I think it's also time that people, the Germans, start loving themselves, and celebrating themselves and being good to each other. That would be a very good start, and getting an awareness of who they really are, and looking back at many hundreds of years of a wonderful history of doing so many good things for this world, and to maybe finally one day stand in a group of people, and there's a Spanish guy who says, I love being Spanish, and there's a British guy who says, I love being British, and there's an African saying, I love coming from Ghana, or whatever, and the German then to stand up and to say, I love being German, I'm proud to be German. I hope that day will come very soon.
And I found love for myself, and before I was searching for that, and maybe I searched for something to fight for, but it's nothing. You should never fight for something. You should love something, and I found something that I love, and that's my home, my family, and I'm proud of being German for sure.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I hope that every German would say that one of these days.
Yes, and I'm proud about all Germans,
It can be, yeah.
It's just what happened to them is quite a hard, big story.
That's a real big story, yes. What happened to them to, make them change that much. That's a quite deep story.
It is a deep story. I cannot even find the words for that.
Do you want to go into that now, or maybe in another? Another one. We'll keep this in another one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I think that it was a pleasure to speak out openly about things.
To start something. And
to start something, yeah.
Even just we are starting to talk about it in English the first time, and it's just the beginning.
It is just the beginning, and I think there will be several more occasions to go deeper into this matter, and I certainly hope that you will join us again.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you very much.